Okay, hello guys. Good to meet you again here at the Leadfeeder social selling webinar. And now from the last time, we're gonna do a little recap shortly in the beginning of what we discussed last time, and then we're gonna focus more on what sales challenges does Twitter and LinkedIn solve, and how those can be utilized in social selling tactics. And like last time, if you have any questions, you can insert them in here, and at the end of the webinar, I'll be replying to those questions. So let's start from here. So a little recap. So when you use Leadfeeder and other tools, basically we know that analytics can reveal your website visitors, of course, but it also gives you one of the most important advantages in sales, and this is the right timing. So we all know that sales cycles can be shorter or longer periods, but in social selling tactics you can attract those decision makers in the early stage or in the later stage of the sales cycle, and this is why the analytical information and all of the online behaviors of your prospects can be used in social selling. So we know that marketing has evolved, buying has evolved, and now sales is ready to evolve. And basically sales tech is disrupting marketing's role this year, and tools like Leadfeeder can help salespeople to understand what their prospects do in the online space. So basic information about companies visiting your website often, and when you see what they have done in the website, and if that behavior comes apparent and more often, then there's definitely a signal that they are searching for something and somebody should contact them. So utilize analytics for better leads and turn those into better sales using social selling tactics. And a good starting place for people who weren't here last time, you can check your own social selling index from that link at the above, so .com/sales/SSI. And this consists basically of 4 different parts. It's about building your professional profile and how you establish your brand in LinkedIn, how you find the right people and prospects, how you engage with good insights, and how you have been able to build relationship, and especially strong relationships in LinkedIn. So when you have these metrics at a good level, then you know that your profile is well set up and you are doing the right things in LinkedIn in terms of engaging and networking with other people and those key decision makers, basically. So let's move forward, and from the last time, these were the 5 key points that you have to think about when doing social selling. So it's about your personal brand, sharing a good content, creating value with that, listening, what's happening, what those decision makers, your prospects, what are they talking about, and then engaging with them and helping with them. So building the value up front, and as we remember from the last time, don't seek transaction in the first place, build relationships and trust, and the sales will come after that. Now we're going to focus on each of these 5 things a little bit when we go further here, and you will see how these different stages come across in Twitter and in LinkedIn, and how you use those in social selling. So how Twitter can solve sales challenges, and let's start with challenge 1. It happens very often for salespeople. You are too pushy or too salesy. You try to close stuff immediately, and I have seen many influencers, for example, in LinkedIn, complaining that the first contact they have with someone is that they are trying to offer them something or try to sell them something, and that just doesn't work. And the same thing goes in Twitter. Many people use Twitter direct messages, and they try to straightly sell there always something. So let's see how we can help this with Twitter. So Twitter can be used to show you that you have the prospect's interest in mind, challenges in mind, and needs in mind. And before you try to make an actual phone call or basic offline pitch through email, Twitter offers you a great way to make your name appear in the decision makers' eyes, basically. So you can engage in different ways. You can comment their posts, you can share quality content for them. If they are a software company, you can basically share some articles that they might be interested in and link them to certain good people, and afterwards it's more likely that they will pick up the phone when you are calling to them, or at least you will have a longer period of time to discuss with them about your offerings and how you can help them. The second challenge is that when salespeople go on and close new customers and new deals, then they tend to forget about the old customers. And Twitter is also a really good way to staying in touch with these customers. And how this can be solved is that you can keep in touch with them using Twitter, and it's not necessarily a good way that you start shooting phone calls to them, asking all the time that how are they doing. You can keep up kind of a soft contact through Twitter, and then of course use phone calls maybe every few months. But Twitter is a good way to keep the engagement alive with them, and of course then you have the ability to resell more to them as they are already your customers. So use Twitter if those buyers or decision makers are there. That's a really good way to keep your company in their minds and make reselling basically with that. Then the third challenge basically could be the most important one, is being able to be the first one to respond. And if you could set up a process for getting alerts, there are different tools that I'm going to discuss after this, but setting up alerts that show you when those leads or competitors are talking about your product or their products, and responding there in real time, being the first one in the place, you can give a competitive advantage by being first there, and of course you will be able to ask follow-up questions after that. And there are different tools. TweetDeck is one that I'm gonna show you after this, and other tools. Hootsuite is pretty good way to track social media monitoring, and other Mention tools. Well, Mention.com is a good tool also. So here's a good example from my TweetDeck. You can see that I follow, for example, Leadfeeder app mentions, social selling, B2B stuff here. Lead Forensics is our competitor from UK. Then other general stuff and our competitors and other mentions. So first of all, if you start about our competitor, there's this Mr. Ian Irving complaining about their sales guys and stuff, how they do their work. So that's a good indication for me. Although we don't do direct sales, it's still a good way to start engaging with him and showing what Leadfeeder is and that we do things differently, basically. So after this, I contacted this Ian guy and talked a little general about the whole industry. So I didn't start like blaming lead forensics in any ways. I just showed that there was a good indication that he knows these kinds of tools, and maybe there's potential later on to show him what's Leadfeeder all about. And of course, this guy has over 10,000 Twitter followers, so it will be also good for our brand that he sees us in a positive way and maybe our competitors in not so positive way. And then there's lots of mentions about our company with Leadfeeder app. And for example, this channel, Seaman, is sharing about things that I'm saying in a pitching competition or in our blog posts or other blog posts that are about Leadfeeder. So it's really easy to see what people are talking about there and then engaging in different ways. So just remember, don't try to sell anything, try to be friendly and build up the value up front. You can talk about, for example, the channel that how to keep up the conversation alive in social selling. So that's really, really important, as I'm later going to show you that keeping up the conversation, building many conversation is sort of the digital sales funnel nowadays that you can use for making sales. So simple Twitter engagement. You can tell them that, hey, I noticed you were talking about XYZ. Have you considered this or that? And kind of, it's a good way to start a conversation. And when you say, have you considered this, it doesn't mean that you should say, have you considered our company or our product, but give him or her maybe some general value points of, have you considered using these kinds of strategies in marketing or other kinds of stuff. And if you offer a marketing platform or some other products, you can tell about those later on. But start with something general and be friendly and try to help them in any ways you can. And after that, they will show you that you are really helpful. Then they see your profile and then they see your company through that, and it goes pretty well from there if you do it right. So if we move from Twitter to LinkedIn is another step. So one big sales challenge people face nowadays is how to personalize your approach when you try to make sales. So LinkedIn offers a really good opportunity for this, and let's check what's the first solution is. So when you check your prospect's LinkedIn profile, you can learn about them. This same thing goes, of course, in Twitter. You can see what those people are like and use this information about general stuff, what they are doing in business life. Of course, people are showing their hobbies somewhere in some way, so that information can also be used to personalize the message and the approach, how you engage and interact with these decision makers or buyers. And a little pro tip, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, it's really useful tool, I can tell you that. And next up, I have a good screenshot of how the basic view looks like in there. So this is the LinkedIn Sales Navigator home view. So I can save different accounts, so companies that I want to follow up, and leads, different people that I want to follow, that what are they talking about and what are the companies talking about and who I know from the company, etc., etc. So this information can easily be used when making social sales. So if I want to be in contact with this Kevin guy, I would perhaps like and comment to that post something. Then that's the first interaction that he would see my name, and then go from there. Maybe check if he's in Twitter also, keep up a friendly conversation alive in that channel, and then offer something valuable for him. That's his own update, so I could perhaps share that too, give him the visibility of my own network, and he will surely appreciate that. And afterwards you can ask for something. So there's a good example, Jack Kosakowski, who's a good or really great social selling influencer and kind of a friend of mine. He said that you can think about when you were a child and you wanted to ask something from your mom or from your dad. So perhaps when you make your chores, do your bed, clean your room and do the dishes, then maybe just then is the right time for ask from your mom that if you can go to the sleepover party. So build the value up front, be friendly, and after that you can ask for something. So it's not a rocket science. This is how relationships works, basically. Challenge 2, getting in front of the prospect. This is also kind of in the same way about your personal brand and showing that to those decision makers or buyers. So the solution with LinkedIn is that you can educate and influence potential buyers early in the sales cycle already. So it doesn't matter if they are not buying just at that time, you can still have them basically kind of saved in your prospect funnel, and then you can start educating them with good content and influence them with other good quality stuff that you can find that could be helpful for them. And when they are making their sales decisions, then they already know you and they might ask you for help. So it can happen basically kind of automatically if you do it in the right ways. So use LinkedIn for educating and influencing your network, and make sure that your network consists of these decision makers and buyers that you want to reach out to. Challenge 3, how to differentiate yourself from others. And again, it comes down to the personal branding and how do you look like in LinkedIn. So if you go look your own profile right now, you can think about that. Are you happy with it? And could there be more content that you could share there to show other people that you are an industry expert in the field? So choose, you don't have to be an industry expert on the whole field. You can choose a niche thing from your market and build content around that subject, because that will also help these people. And I know that every one of you guys have some certain thing in your industry that you are really good at. So write about that stuff or create other kinds of content and share it to your network. And that will show your expertise to other people there. So simple ways to engage in LinkedIn. You can use the @ symbol for mentioning people. You can be in a group chat. There's a discussion going on about certain thing. You can tag some guy, maybe your potential buyer, and give them value that, hey, you should read this article. It's really good and it's about your industry, and that will help them get value. Then speak up. So you can do social selling if you are quiet all the time. So be active in different social groups and showcase your expertise, because basically you are an expert in that certain niche, or maybe some of you are experts in the whole industry, but you are always expert of your own product and your own tool. So use that information to build up your professional profile. So many people are talking about that social selling is that it's a slow way, that you can cold call people, so it's a fast way. You pick up the phone and then you just call someone and go from there. But with social selling, you can see that over time you have many conversations, and those are with the right people at the right time, and importantly at the right level with these right decision makers. So you can have maybe 10 or 20 different people that you have like warmed up, these leads that you have figured out from your website or from other ways. So you have a conversation funnel, and at some point, if you have done it right, you have built a value for them, and they will know what company are you representing. It's really easy after that to start engaging with them and moving the sales pitch to offline, to mobile or an email. So you have to think about that. Are you being valuable, or are you being a salesperson? And when you do that, remember that when you are in B2B, there are many decision makers. So it's not only one person. There are other people too who are influencing the buying decision there. So you can imagine if you have connected with the company CMO and then marketing specialist and some business development manager, and all of those guys know you in a positive way, so it definitely is going to build trust for you, and then it's super simple to start making the sales pitch because you have networked your way through the whole team in one company. So keep this graph in mind. So not only one decision maker, reach out to several others and create this bigger trust for the whole company. So as we remember from the last time, after the trust is built, don't try to close it in social, move it to email, move it to phone call. And here's the one nice example. This message is from a global software company's CMO, really busy guy. I had a good interaction with him in Twitter and in LinkedIn, and then I wanted basically to reach out to him. And I have a basketball background, and he had a basketball quote in his Twitter profile, so I knew that he's a basketball player, or at least an enthusiastic in that field. So I used that kind of a sneaky way to do stuff, and it worked, as you can see here. He took it pretty well, and then the conversation is really easy to start from there, as we have something in common with him. So do your stuff in social, in online channels, and after you have the trust, or you think you have enough information to make a personalized approach, then move it to email or to a phone call. So if we recap the whole structure, so 2016 is definitely a year that sales tech is going to disrupt marketing's role, and all of you salespeople, or if you are marketing people listening, give your salespeople a tool that they can understand their prospects' online behavior. So they can use website analytics to get warm leads, then they can engage with insight to heat up those leads from the website, then building the relationship, trust and value upfront, being friendly, being valuable, and basically interacting them as humans, not like tools. So remember that. And then in the end, move your sales pitch to email or to a phone call once you have gotten their trust. So there are simple 4 steps from website analytics to a sales pitch in an offline mode where you have warmed up the lead in social channels with social selling. So this is basically how the social selling works in a simplified way, and that was more detailed about Twitter and LinkedIn. Of course, there are other tools that we can take a look in the next webinars. There's Facebook has surprisingly different things to do, and there are lots of different tactics, but this was sort of a basics with Twitter and LinkedIn. So if you want to read forward, I suggest you check that blog post that I created with Tim Huge, who was selected as the #1 social selling influencer in the world. And we talk about there how a numpty sales guy called Joe doesn't at first understand how to use website analytics, and then we basically tell the story of how Joe can utilize website analytics with social selling tactics, making better sales in this digital era. And connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me on Twitter. I will follow you back, and let's talk more about social selling tactics and tools there. And then I can check a couple questions till the end. So let's check some questions that I have here. Okay, so Sven asks, in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, what is a good manageable amount of accounts to follow in your perspective, and how regularly do you engage with these accounts leads you saved? Really good question. Manageable amount of accounts. Well, if we talk about, there are leads and accounts. So accounts are companies. So perhaps Sven meant more of leads, so persons. I'd say 10 to 20 at the time is really good way, and if you can heat up maybe 5 of those to a sales pitch phase, that's already really good. And how regularly, I'd say, like, if it's a good content and if you are not making them frustrated, then you can do it on a daily basis if there's like something you can give them of a value. So daily activities, and of course remember that when you push your own content and these prospects might know you already, so then you don't have to interact with them all the time, then they can start interacting back to you, and that is of course a good indication that you are going to the right direction. Yeah, could you share a list of tools with us? What do you recommend for setting up Twitter alerts? And yeah, definitely. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna write a blog post about these tools. I'm gonna publish that and gonna share it to all of you guys. So I think that is the easiest and convenient way to do that. And it's a really good question that following Twitter alerts is really good thing. And then Valentina asks, thanks for the presentation. So if I see a lead from Leadfeeder, I should not contact them directly by email, but instead should check if there is a way to start a conversation in Twitter or LinkedIn. I would say yes, correct. So if you can find right people from that company, from LinkedIn or Twitter, you could start from there, because it's a really easy way to start engaging with people, and after that, even if they know your name from a short Twitter conversation, you can imagine how much more easier it is after that to send them an email. So use social channels if you can, and then you can do the email or a phone call. But heat up the lead with LinkedIn or Twitter, with building value to them, and then when they know your name in a good way, you might do the sales pitch through email. Do you have any tips for finding the decision maker on LinkedIn? A really good question. So basically, you know who is your target buyer. It's a sales manager or business developer or any other title that they have. So in LinkedIn, go to the search bar. You can filter there with different names, and if you have Sales Navigator, then you have, of course, even more possibilities to filter out right kind of leads for you. So in conclusion, there's a search tool in LinkedIn, so use that to find the right candidates with different title, and if you can, I recommend to try out the Sales Navigator trial. I think you all have some sort of like a monthly trial that you can try out for the Sales Navigator, and you will see how easy it is to prospect with that tool. So you can filter out irrelevant contacts and have a list of people with the right title and with the right name, and use that. And of course, if we talk about Leadfeeder, you know the company name, you know what they have been searching for, so you understand that then it fits this kind of a person in the company. So then you go to LinkedIn, go to the company page, check from the company page which people work in that company. Also, you see from Leadfeeder that from which city they came from, so you can use that information too, and then sort that out. And I can guarantee that there should be maybe 1 to 5 different people that could be good for you to start approaching and doing your social selling tactics with. So basically that is a good way to do it. Yeah, okay, so thank you all. I hope to see you soon in this webinar, and let's talk more in LinkedIn and Twitter, and I'm gonna inform you when is the next webinar coming up about social selling. Yeah, cheers guys, have a nice day. Bye bye.